Hi, I'm Kevin Ganton. Welcome to another edition of Champions of Healthcare. Today we are here at Allegiance Hospital, formerly Foot, to introduce one of our champions, Dr. Kotecha, a neurosurgeon here in Jackson. And Dr. Kotecha is a very skilled, very skilled surgeon, and we have a story that is nothing short of a miracle with a lady named Anna Resor who we're going to meet, and the skills and the compassion and the care of Dr. Kotecha in seeing her through. It's a beautiful story. I'm excited today to be a part of this, and welcome again to Champions of Healthcare.
For a month and a half, I had been experiencing severe back pain, but being my only means of support, I kept forcing myself to go to work, popping aspirin for pain. And I was in a lot of pain, and the first part of November I was even experiencing numbness in my legs, but again I kept pushing myself to go to work. And again on November 21st I collapsed in my home and was paralyzed from the waist down.
She had been unable to move her legs for about 5 days. She unfortunately had not presented through the emergency room earlier because she was a good citizen. She was concerned that she did not want to bother people or the physicians at the ER. Since she did not have an insurance, she did not want to be a burden on the society. And 5 days after she had been paraplegic, with essentially no sensation in her legs, she came in through the ER. The ER physicians at that point contacted me. I was actually a neurosurgeon on call to see how I could best help her and what the potential findings or reasons for her paralysis could be. She underwent an MRI scan of her spine that demonstrated a large tumor in the thoracic spine, which is in the middle of her chest, that was compressing the spinal cord kind of in a way that was kind of napkin ringing the spinal cord. So it was severely compressed with absolutely no room for the communication from the brain to the rest of the body.
A month prior to this, I had a friend that had Dr. Kotecha, and I heard of how good of a neurosurgeon he is, and I thought, well, I probably won't be lucky to have him. But I'm a firm believer that God heals through doctors and medicine, so I just had to keep my faith up that he would direct me and put me in good hands. And November 21st, the morning of my surgery, I was being prepped, and this nice man came up to me in surgical scrubs and introduced himself to me as Dr. Kotecha, that he would be performing my surgery, and I literally thank God for placing me in his hands.
At that point, I saw Mrs. Resor, examine her, and offered her surgical intervention, and explained to her clearly that unfortunately 5 days after the surgery, the chances of full recovery are not that great, but nonetheless, I would take the chance, do the surgery if she was willing to go through it, and after that see what happens. She underwent the surgery uneventfully. She had a severe compression of the spinal cord from this tumor that actually wrapped the entire spinal cord. I resected the tumor, and after the surgery she actually was doing well. I mean, she had good pain control, but again, no feelings in her legs, and was unable to move her legs. She was a very determined person. I mean, one of the most determined patients I've had. And with some encouragement, she said she was going to walk. Inside my heart, I felt really sorry for Anna, because statistically, the chances of her recovering from this were pretty close to nil. 5 days after surgery, it's unheard of for patients to regain function. But nonetheless, I encouraged her to keep working at it, with the hope that she would at least gain some function in her legs, if nothing else, maybe some sensation, retain her bowel and bladder function. So she was in the hospital for about 3 or 4 days. She was doing beautifully, and after the surgery, we ran into a second obstacle. She needed rehab and placement. We consulted Chelsea Rehab Center. They declined her. Sparrow also declined her. Nobody in the area would accept her because she did not have any insurance. At that point, I was approached by the case manager to help or actually intervene in trying to get her placed. And the first person that came to my mind was Kevin from Arbor Manor, Kevin Ganton from Arbor Manor. He's a wonderful person. He has dealt with my patients in the past. And I thought, you know what, let me write by Kevin, see if he'd be gracious enough to take my patient. Again, understanding that he would not get paid. I got Kevin on the phone, and within 30 seconds, he accepted her. He said, "For you, Dr. Kotecha, I'll do it." He did it. And she was going to be there just for 2 or 3 weeks after the surgery. I happened to find out later on that she was there for over 3 months getting aggressive therapy and rehab.
And knowing Kevin Ganton, I knew I was lucky again, because I knew I would be receiving excellent care there, that he has a homey atmosphere out there and really good rehab. And within 3 months, I was walking down the hallway with a walker after doctors, even Dr. Kotecha himself, didn't really think I'd be walking again, but did not want to tell me. And now I am walking and close to not using the walker. And after my first follow-up visit back to Dr. Kotecha's office, he learned of my progress after 3 months, and he just looked at me and he says, "You're amazing, the work and the progress you've done." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, I give it all to God, and he placed me in your hands, so I have to thank you." And being the modest person that he is, it's like he was humble and didn't want to take no credit for it. And like I told him, if it wasn't for the work he did on my spine, I couldn't have progressed. I couldn't have done what I did without him doing what he did on my spine. And he's truly, truly my champion, and I hope Jackson never loses him.
Well, that's quite a story. In fact, you told me some things about this particular case and this woman that is almost heartbreaking, what she's had to live with up to this point.
Yeah, and you know, again, it was Dr. Kotecha's call that got us involved, and you know, it's one of those stories. It's a good story about a good man who has great skills, and he goes up on the wall. If we had a spot, champion of healthcare right there, and world-class neurosurgeon right here. And we've got some more stuff we're going to show next week that he's doing some phenomenal spine stuff, state of the art. You just can't believe what they're doing with spines. People with back pain and back aches. Dr. Kotecha is right there on the cutting edge, so it's going to be fun to see.
I believe we'll even be in the ER for some of that.
Yeah,
yes.
Your guys went in. Yeah. They gowned up, and again, Allegiance has been very gracious, letting us go in and do some really neat camera work right in surgeries. And this is Reality Healthcare right here in Jackson, Michigan.
Kevin, thanks for coming in.
Good to see you, Bart.
Good to see you. With Champions of Healthcare, presented by Arbor Manor Rehab, Kevin Ganton.